and welcome to LOLA SPEAK channel. Here we're talking about learning English as a second language, and in today's video we're going to be talking about emotions in American English. This video is part 2 because part 1 was well received by you, my friends. Thank you so much. And I got a special request. Lola, can you explain something more about being tired? We didn't touch on that, and we'll talk about that today. And if you want to check out part 1, you'll see the link above. There we were talking about emotions of anger, fear, confusion, sadness, and excitement. So I decided we need a positive video. We need to be talking about something nice. So in today's video, besides the emotions of being tired, we're going to be talking about the emotions of love, happiness, and surprise. But before we begin, I want to remind you that the best way to show your love to our channel is to subscribe so you won't miss our next video. And we're happy to be getting your requests and making videos for you specifically. And we're starting with emotions of love. I'll be trying to grade them, but some of them, they're kind of the same strength, but they are used in different cases and have different shades. So I will try to give you the context so you know when to use them. Number 1, affectionate. To be affectionate or to feel affectionate. When we're affectionate, we're showing feelings. We're showing fondness and tenderness, but the whole idea of being an affectionate guy or a girl is not being afraid of showing your admiration to a person. You know, you can give somebody a hug or like, hi, missed you. Or you can give somebody an affectionate hug, like, oh my God, I missed you so much. Like, I can't believe you're back. And when somebody's being affectionate towards someone, you could tell, because that person doesn't give a damn about how she or he looks. He expresses his love. He expresses his admiration, his tenderness. I think it's always a dream of a girl to have an affectionate man, because very often men, they kind of afraid of showing their feelings. You know, they're always so cool and kind of. And women, they always want to be shown love. And when you see someone who's so affectionate, like, you know, he gets on his knees, he like waits till she's ready to get out of the car and he opens the door. That's probably not the best example, but practically is not afraid to be showing what he feels. And I think a lot of men actually consider that a weakness. That's why they don't do it. But for women, I think it's such an attractive feature when a man is not afraid of being affectionate. And you can be affectionate towards not only a person, but to a place. It's about showing the feelings of your liking something or someone. And I also like to be thinking about this adjective as the one that came from the verb to affect. When we affect something or somebody, right, we have an influence on someone or something. And when we were influenced, we were affected, right? It kind of changed us in some way. And we're not afraid of showing it. You know, I was affected, and I'm affectionate because I'm like, oh my God, I love it so much. It means so much to me. Like, I can't believe you're here. Let me hold your hand. Yeah, I hope you got it. Love emotion number 2 is to be adoring. When we're adoring, we're showing deep love and admiration and almost worshiping someone. And as well, it comes from the verb to adore. To adore somebody is to love someone very much, especially in a way that shows a lot of admiration and respect. You know, it's almost like you look up, you adore that person. Usually, the best way to describe this verb is to say grandparents adore their grandkids, most of them. They just love it unconditionally, like they adore them. So when someone is adoring, or let's say she looked at him with adoring eyes, we could feel this sense of like, admiration. You could use this word in a phrase like adoring fans. This guy, he has a lot of adoring fans, you know? Or she has an adoring audience. Audience that praises her and says, oh my God, she's the best singer in the world, you know? She's just the best. I admire her. Adoring audience. Or let's say a teacher or a professor has adoring students. They love him, they respect him, they know that he's almost like a figure of a higher status because of his knowledge or talent, and they almost like worship him. They adore him. They are adoring students. And emotion of love number 3 is passionate. You know the word passion, you know? Passion has strong emotions in it, intense. It's not only about feeling, it's almost about your beliefs, you know? You're passionate about someone or something. It's not soft, it's not tender, it's not like, it's like, you know what it means to get a passionate kiss, you know, not an affectionate kiss. Affectionate is like, I just want to kiss you, and the passion would be like you're in it, Jesus. And why I love this emotion, to be passionate about something, it is because it's not only about love. Passion includes the strength and sometimes almost like a warrior attitude, you know? For example, you could have your passion project. I love this phrase, right? It's my passion project. Meaning, I'm willing to work on that project no matter what. Like if it's a day or night, whether I'm getting paid or not. You know, it's my passion project. Like, I love it so much. I need it. Oh, I love that. Need. The need is in passion. You know, I need it. Or I need to say something. I need to do something. So when you have these strong emotions, instead of saying like, I love it or I like it, you could say, I'm very passionate about it. And that will express a lot about you. Yeah, sometimes I'm very passionate about explaining things, you know? It's almost like, I want to get your head and explain you something. And sometimes I'm very passionate about sleeping. I want to sleep so much. And that brings us to the emotions of being tired. And thanks to Julia, who asked that question, and I loved her. She said, like, can you explain something more about being tired, fatigue, exhausted, so on? Because they are most useful words after my work when I try to describe my emotions after a day to my classmates on evening English lessons. LOL. Number 1 is to be weary. And don't confuse these two words, weary and weary. Weary means that we're not trusting completely someone, or we're not sure, like, you know, it's weary. But when we're talking about being tired, we can use the adjective weary. So it's when we're mildly tired or sometimes very tired, especially after you have been working hard or doing something for a long period of time. It's almost like, you know, you're done with it. It's like you're weary because it worn you out. I love that this word has wear in it, you know? When you wear something so long, it's worn out. And this adjective kind of reminds us about it, you know? Weary. It's almost, it worn you out. I had a long day at work. I feel weary. I just need to relax. It's not the most popular word, I want to be honest, but you could see people in speeches using it, like we got weary or don't get weary. So I want you to know it. And it expresses this mild level of being tired, which is cool too, because it's not yet the highest degree of being tired. The word number 2 is to be fatigued. You've asked specifically about this word, and ChatGPT actually, when I was talking to it, referred to this word as well. But why it's kind of should not be there is because when we're fatigued, talks about, first of all, our physical exhaustion. Yes, sometimes people use it in context of mental exhaustion, but more often, oftenly, I would say 90% of the situations, you'll see this word. People referring to be physically tired. So of course, it's affecting our emotional state, but it's about your physical condition first of all, in my opinion. I've been studying for hours. I could barely keep my eyes open. I'm so fatigued. Or sometimes after going up the stairs. I've recently felt fatigue after going up the stairs. But it's okay. I have a reason for that. So maybe you had a very long day, you woke up early, you didn't get much to eat, and your battery is almost died. Your life battery. So you're so fatigued. Good thing we know how to fix it. Sleep, eat, hot tub or hot shower. And also sometimes people use it in context when someone's not feeling well, I feel fatigue. It's almost like maybe it's not enough air, or like you're tired, like it's almost you need some energy, you're so fatigued. So it'll be a mark for people around you to kind of help you. Oh, sure, sit down, take a break. But what if I want to express that I'm mentally tired, right? All of these things that kind of is applicable to fatigue. But let's say I'm talking about my emotional state, and then we use the word drained. It's cool because it comes from the verb to drain. When we drain something, we remove the liquid from it. For example, you need to drain your pasta. When you're making pasta, you drain the water. So when we're talking about emotional state and we're saying that someone is drained, it means that all emotional, almost all the juices has left your body. You are so tired because you have no life energy left. You're drained. And very oftenly it's used in a phrase to be emotionally drained. And sometimes you could feel drained after a conversation. You had a very difficult conversation and you feel drained. So, sometimes when people are energy vampire, you talked to somebody for 20 minutes and you feel like you've spent all of your energy because you're drained. They sucked it out of you. Good example could be, after dealing with that difficult customer, I feel emotionally drained. Even though it's 10:30, the beginning of the day. The next turn of being tired is to be burned out. I would say first you're drained, and then you're drained for many days, and then you become burned out. We usually use this term in the context of work. So let's say we're working so hard, or it's a very complicated project, or we overworking a lot of days in a row, and eventually we feel burned out. It's almost like a candle that was burning and ended, and now there's nothing left to burn and burned out. You have no energy, no ideas, no strength, no resources to continue because you're done, you're burned out. So to be burned out means to be emotionally and physically tired due to prolonged stress or overworking. And the last one to describe the emotion of being tired, I'm sure you know that one. And actually, it was so difficult for me not to use it while describing others because it's such a common and popular word, so I should include it. And I did include it, is to be exhausted. Oh, I love this word. If you're not familiar, to be exhausted means to be extremely tired. I love this EX in the beginning. Extremely tired, exhausted. When we're exhausted, we're completely depleted of energy, like nothing left. And sometimes people are using this word saying like, I'm exhausted. And it's almost like an exaggeration because to be really exhausted, you should really spend all of your energy. And sometimes we're just like having an episode and you're like, "Oh, I'm exhausted." When in fact, you just need like a break. You're not exhausted, you're just tired. You're just fatigued maybe a little bit. Or weary. So the example could be running a marathon left me completely exhausted. That's true, you know? I could hardly move. That's true. If you run a marathon, you probably will be exhausted. Or doing something for a long time. Let's say you're dealing with a relative, you know, who doesn't want to... let's say your grandma or someone needs a treatment and she doesn't want to do it and you're trying to convince her and it's exhausting because you're having the same conversation over and over and it drains your energy and you're like, oh, I'm exhausted. So I wish you never be exhausted. Dude, like even explaining these things, it made me a little bit tired. So let's move on to the emotions of surprise. Yee-hoo! And the first one is to be amazed. When something is amazing, it makes us extremely surprised, but it also makes us, it almost fulfills us with energy, you know? Amazing. It usually is used in a positive context. I can't even think about the example where in the negative context you would use this word saying amazing. I mean, you could say amazing, but usually it's amazing, you know? Oh, so amazing. So to be I'm amazed, you know? The hotel was excellent, wonderful. We were amazed by their service. Like it was so good, you know, it was surprisingly good. We're amazed. But then we have another word that expresses emotion of surprise, to be astonished. And this word, to be astonished, we can use both in positive and negative context. You know, to be astonished, you could be astonished by a bad thing because it surprises you, like, how could he? How could she? Like, I'm astonished. Or in a positive way, you know, like, I was astonished how quickly he completed this task. So to be astonished, to give you a definition, to be filled with sudden and overpowering surprise or wonder. And this thing of wonder, when we're wondering, like, you know, what in the world, gives us the opportunity to use it in the context when we're not sure what's going on. It surprises us, like, what? Like, I'm astonished. Oh, I'm trying to think about my life. When was the last time I was astonished? And like right before recording this video, I was expecting a delivery. And the guy calling me and saying, oh, you know that that's not like, there is no building on your address. And I have packages that are being delivered daily. And I'm like, it is a building. There's so many, like there are many delivery services that come here daily. But you, mister, I was like astonished. He's like, there's no building here. There's no building here. I'm like, no, it is. He's like, okay. Then his second argument was like, oh yeah, it's another building. Like we have a skyscraper icon. Like, oh, it's another building's address. I'm like, no, both are not true. I was astonished. Like, he did look like it was his first day, so. And the last, in my opinion, the strongest word to describe the emotion of being surprised is to be stunned. Maybe I was even stunned by that guy. Well, actually, when we're stunned, we're shocked and overwhelmed, you know, by something that is almost like senseless or doesn't make sense. And this amount of shock makes us stunned. And usually, as you might guess, we would use it in a negative context because, I mean, shock is always kind of, it's not a surprise, it's shock. It's like, oh, what? it's kind of, I was stunned. And I'm sure somebody can use it in a positive context, but yeah, it's more like I was stunned by the news. Oh my God, every time don't get me started. About my country's news. Anyways, like, there's a lot of things to be stunned about nowadays. They shock you, they almost like stop you, you know? It's like, interesting that we also have an adjective, stunning, which we use in context of someone is being that beautiful that it's stunning. It's almost like shockingly beautiful. It's like, wow, she's stunning. But here, when we're talking about being stunned, we're talking about this. Truly, I almost think about like when you stop breathing for a second because you're stunned. And now, after talking about being tired, about being stunned, let's talk about the emotions of happiness. Alleluia! And the first one would be the emotion of joyfulness. When we're joyful, we're feeling, expressing, or causing great pleasure and happiness. You know, joyful, full of joy, full of like satisfaction. It is when something brings us a lot of pleasure and inner fulfillment in some way, you know? It's so joyful. Like the children are so joyful when they see presents. You know, they're like, Number 2 is to be delighted. To be delighted means to be feeling or showing great pleasure, once again, or satisfaction. And that feeling of satisfaction makes it different from joy, because it's almost like something has happened that you expected, that you wanted to happen, and you're getting this satisfaction, you're getting this delight. You know, you're delighted. You're very pleased. I was delighted to hear that you're coming to visit. It's like I wanted it. I wanted you to come, and I'm delighted to know that you will come. You know, that gives me this satisfaction. Coming back to the delivery guy, I was delighted that he was trying to deliver my package. You wanted to win something, and you did, and you feel delighted now. Once again, you are very, very pleased. And the last, but not the least, the emotion that expresses happiness is to be feeling ecstatic. Oh, what a good word. So to be ecstatic is to be feeling, expressing overwhelming happiness or joyful excitement. So you're so full of it. You're not joyful. You're like next level. I would say even next level. You're ecstatic. It's almost like you're not in contact with yourself because you're so happy. You know, sometimes it's a great example. The ecstatic crowd, you know? When you see fans, let's say, seeing their celebrity, they're ecstatic. They're like, they almost can't control themselves. I don't think personally I use this word. I like it because it's so strong. It expresses strong emotion. When was I ecstatic? Oh, once I was ecstatic. Once my friends, they came to visit me. They made a surprise. They came to Los Angeles on my birthday, and it was not just a friend or two, a couple. There was 8 of them coming from different countries, and I was so excited. I thought for a second that I was going crazy because I mean they couldn't be there, and you know, of course they set it all up and they pretended to be whatever, Skyping me from like, oh, I'm still in Germany, or like I'm still in Russia, and then like they're entering my apartment, and I like, and I almost started crying. Like I started crying. It was like I was so excited, I was happy, and then I was overwhelmed. And then my best friend, she's like, should we call an emergency? Like she didn't know how to handle the situation. But yeah, that was an amazing, ecstatic moment of joyfulness and happiness in my life. All right, that was it for today. Let me know if you're delighted to get this video, and maybe you have questions about other emotions, and let me know in comments, and I'll be happy to make part 3 of this video. And if you want to practice pronouncing these words, pronouncing the phrases that I've used today in this video, practicing saying this real life examples, jump on LOLA SPEAK app, because after every YouTube video, we release a pack in our pronunciation feature, so you can go through these words. You're not only watching it, and it's fun to watch, but we want to get a skill. We want to get you speaking, and you have this opportunity, so don't miss it. So go on LOLA SPEAK app, pronunciation, YouTube, and find the pack Emotions Part 2, and be amazed by how many packs you have to practice speaking American English with us. Don't forget to press like, and I'll see you next Friday.